Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, any of these guys, they have hundreds of people. And so when you sit down and say, well, I'm going to do that with 6 people, even though it makes rational sense, they're like, well, if it was that simple, then they would be doing it. In the very beginning, basically I got to see how studios operated behind the scenes. I got to see the actual financial models. A business model that requires hundreds of millions of dollars each picture and 15% of them make money is not a good business model. So, we went in, pitched, here's a new way to do it, we should all embrace it, let's do it together, and literally it was like, we were laughed out of the room as, in the beginning. I mean, literally people just saying like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And that was very difficult, but we just ignored it, and we went forward and said we believe what we're doing. And it took a while to understand that there was a threat there, and I wasn't meaning to threaten anybody, because I just looked at it as, hey, if I bring something more efficient to the industry, everybody's going to embrace it. And that's clearly, as I learned in my late 20s and into my 30s and now in my late 30s, that's not really how it works. I sit down with the press and say, oh, this is what we're doing, and they're going to write a great story. And then all of a sudden the story would come out, and it would have a little bit of what I said in there, but then it would have all these people. It would never have their names. It would just be like, a source says this is a joke, or a source says, that's the funniest thing they've ever seen and it's never going to work, or a source says, he's crazy. And I was shocked. I was like, why would these sources say this? They don't know what I'm doing. And it was like so baffling to me, going, who are these sources? Now I look and say, oh, well, what would happen is an article would be written, or I'd be pitching a financial concept to an investor, and generally there's small investor circles and even smaller finance circles in the movie business. And of course, this guy who's advising or working with all of the traditional studios and models, what I didn't understand is his livelihood was tied to these old models, and he couldn't really say, oh yeah, that's great, I'm going to walk away from these guys. So he had to say, oh yeah, that doesn't work, it's all bullshit. Each time we do something new, it takes a while to actually get accepted. We control television, we control our movies, we have 400 pro athletes and the second largest sports agency, and we control our fashion, brands and fashion, and each one was disrupted on its own, but I think, the first one took about 5, 6, 7 years to really be accepted. The second one took 3 or 4 years, the next one 2 or 3, and, hopefully as we do new things, it'll be a little easier, but I don't know, maybe I don't think we know how to do it easy anymore.